Sometimes, a simple act of kindness can lead to the most unexpected outcomes. Billy Ray Harris, a homeless man living on the streets, was about to discover just how life-changing a small gesture could be when Sarah Darling accidentally dropped her engagement ring into Billy's cup while giving him some change. She had no idea that this event would set off a chain reaction that would turn his life upside down. But before we dive into the story, make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on our exciting stories. Sarah Darling, the owner of a yoga studio, was devastated when she realized her engagement ring was missing. She had taken it off due to an injured finger and placed it in her bag for safekeeping. However, while giving change to a homeless man on her way to work, she unknowingly handed over the ring. When Sarah realized her mistake, she rushed back to the same spot, praying to find him. Unfortunately, Billy Ray wasn't there. Despairing, she returned home and told her husband about the lost ring. He encouraged her to try again the next day, and when she did, to her great relief, Billy Ray was back in his usual spot. With hope in her voice, she asked if he had found a ring, and to her surprise, Billy Ray responded, "Yes, I kept it for you." Sarah was overwhelmed with gratitude. She had assumed the ring, worth thousands of dollars, would have been sold. Instead, Billy Ray, despite his difficult circumstances, had held on to it. His honesty and integrity left a deep impression on her. She and her husband decided to do something to repay his kindness. To show their gratitude, Sarah and her husband Bill set up a fundraiser for Billy Ray. Their goal was to raise $1,000 to help him, a modest amount compared to what Billy had been offered for the ring at a local jeweler. When Billy had initially found the ring, he could have sold it for $4,000, but his conscience wouldn't allow it. He knew it was valuable, but something told him that it might be important to the person who lost it. So, he chose not to sell it and waited, hoping the owner would return. As the fundraiser page spread online, it quickly gained attention. What started as a small campaign to thank Billy Ray for his honesty turned into something much bigger. Donations poured in from people all over the world who were touched by his story. Within a few months, the fundraiser had raised over $190,000, far exceeding the initial goal. Billy Ray's act of kindness had struck a chord with thousands of strangers who wanted to help him get back on his feet. The couple kept the massive fundraising success a secret from Billy at first. When they finally told him about the life-changing amount of money, Billy was stunned. He had never expected anything in return for doing what he thought was right. "I don't feel like I deserve all this," he said humbly, though the generosity of others had now given him a chance to start a new life. Billy Ray's life began to transform in ways he never imagined. The money from the fundraiser allowed him to leave the streets behind. He used part of the funds to buy a home, a car, and begin rebuilding his life. With the help of a lawyer, he set up a trust to manage the money wisely and make sure it lasted for the long term. Billy was no longer just a homeless man struggling to survive. He now had the opportunity to create a stable and secure future. But that wasn't the only blessing that came Billy Ray's way. His story, which had touched so many people, also reached someone very important: his long-lost family. Billy had been separated from his siblings for 16 years. They had no idea where he was and had assumed the worst. When they saw Billy's story on the news, they were overwhelmed with relief and joy. They immediately reached out to him, and for the first time in over a decade, Billy was reunited with his family. The reunion was emotional. Billy had thought he might never see his family again. But now, not only did he have financial security, he had his loved ones back in his life. His sister Robin described the moment she realized it was him. "I knew it was my brother as soon as I saw the picture. We cried on the phone and talked for hours, catching up on everything we had missed over the years." Billy Ray's reunion with his family was just the beginning of his new life. Overjoyed to be back in contact with his siblings, he quickly became an integral part of their lives once more. The family, thrilled to have him back, planned a full reunion, where all of Billy's brothers and sisters could gather and celebrate their long-awaited reconnection. While Billy was settling into his new home and reconnecting with his family, Sarah and Bill remained a constant presence in his life. The bond they had formed over the lost ring had grown into a deep friendship. The couple continued to support Billy, not just financially, but emotionally as well, checking in on him and offering guidance as he navigated his new circumstances. They frequently met, and Billy often reflected on how one simple act of honesty had turned his life around. Billy's story, meanwhile, continued to inspire others. His humble response to the outpouring of support only made people admire him more. Media outlets followed his journey, and people from all over the world reached out to share how his story had touched their hearts. Some donors even shared their own experiences of loss, and how Billy's honesty had given them hope that good people still existed. Billy remained modest through it all, often saying, "I just did what I thought was right." He was grateful for the second chance life had given him, and determined to make the most of it. As Billy Ray embraced his new life, he began planning for his future. With the funds he had received, he decided to start a small painting business. Billy had always been good with his hands and enjoyed working on practical projects. Now, he had the resources to turn his skills into a career. He bought tools and supplies, and soon enough, he was taking on local jobs, painting houses and doing small repairs around the community. His work ethic and attention to detail earned him a solid reputation, and the business began to grow. At the same time, Billy stayed deeply connected to the community that had helped him. He began volunteering at local shelters, offering encouragement and support to others who were struggling with homelessness. Billy understood firsthand the challenges of living on the streets, and he wanted to give back to those who were in the same situation he had once been in. "I know what it's like to feel hopeless," he said. "If I can help someone else find their way out, then it's worth it." Billy's relationships with Sarah and Bill also continued to strengthen. They saw each other often, sharing meals and discussing life. Bill, in particular, felt a close connection to Billy, and their friendship deepened over time. "He's like family now," Bill said. "We've been through this incredible journey together, and I'm proud to call him a friend." As Billy's story continued to spread, people from around the world were inspired by his act of honesty and the incredible journey that had followed. His decision to return the ring had not only transformed his life, but it had also brought hope and positivity to countless others. Billy Ray's story was proof that even in the toughest circumstances, doing the right thing can lead to unexpected and life-changing rewards. Billy Ray's life had truly come full circle. He went from living on the streets to having a stable home, reconnecting with his family, and starting his own business. However, despite all the success and attention, Billy remained humble and focused on the simple joys of life. He was particularly proud of the relationships he had rebuilt with his family, with Sarah and Bill, and with the people in his community. The ring, which had sparked the entire journey, had become a symbol of hope and connection. Bill, Sarah's husband, often talked about how the ring, now restored to his family, would be passed down to their children, along with the incredible story of Billy's kindness and honesty. It was no longer just a valuable piece of jewelry. It had become a reminder of the goodness that can come from one selfless act. As Billy continued to grow his business, he also looked for more ways to give back. He began mentoring others who were struggling, sharing his story with them in the hopes that it might inspire them to stay strong and believe that change is possible. "If I could turn my life around, so can you," he would often tell people, encouraging them to stay hopeful even in their darkest moments. The public continued to follow Billy's journey, with many people expressing how deeply his story had touched them. Donations to the GoFundMe campaign continued to come in, even long after the initial goal had been surpassed. Billy remained amazed. by the generosity of strangers, and he made it a point to always use the funds responsibly, ensuring that they would help him maintain his stability for years to come. Throughout it all, Billy Ray never forgot the struggles he had faced. His time on the streets had taught him resilience, and it had shaped the person he had become. Now, as he looked toward the future, he was determined to keep building on the new life he had been given, one filled with hope, opportunity, and the love of the family and friends he had gained along the way. Billy Ray's journey wasn't just about the material changes in his life. It was about the emotional and spiritual transformation he had undergone. From someone who had spent years surviving day to day, Billy now had a sense of purpose and belonging. The reunion with his family brought a deep sense of peace to his life, and he cherished every moment with them, making up for the years they had lost. He often reflected on how far he had come, attributing much of his transformation to the kindness of strangers like Sarah and Bill. But his own decision to do the right thing, to hold onto a ring for a stranger, had sparked it all. "I still can't believe how much my life has changed," Billy said, often in disbelief. "It just shows you that one small choice can make a world of difference." As Billy's painting business grew, so did his confidence. He started taking on larger jobs and even hired a few helpers to expand his reach. The work gave him a sense of pride and accomplishment that he hadn't felt in years. For the first time in a long time, Billy was able to support himself through his own efforts, and that meant everything to him. Despite the attention his story had garnered, Billy remained a modest, grounded person. He avoided the media spotlight as much as possible, choosing instead to focus on his work and his relationships. To him, the most important thing was not the fame or the money, but the fact that he had been given a second chance, and he wanted to use it wisely. His bond with Sarah and Bill continued to grow as well. They often reflected on how that one lost ring had brought them together, and how it had changed all of their lives. For Sarah, Billy's honesty had restored her faith in humanity, and she made sure to teach her children about the importance of doing the right thing, no matter the circumstances. "Billy is living proof that there's goodness in the world," Sarah said, "and I'm so grateful that we got to be part of his story." In the end, Billy Ray's story wasn't just about a ring. It was about how a single act of integrity can ripple outward, changing not just one life, but many. Billy had gone from being a homeless man on the streets to a business owner, a family man, and an inspiration to countless people around the world. His journey was a testament to the power of kindness, perseverance, and the belief that it's never too late to turn your life around.